Speaking at a standing finance committee meeting on July 5, the Bank of Jamaica (BOJ) defended its interest rate hike policy. Inflation in Jamaica has been running ahead of the central bank's 4 to 6% target, peaking at 11.8% in April before reducing to 10.9% in May. Critics have slammed the BOJ for raising the interest rate from 5% to 5.50%. When asked how much of the inflation rate was due to external factors, Senior Deputy Governor Wayne Robinson had this to say.
Our estimate is that the combined impact of all of those factors is around 70% of the inflation. So it is substantial. Whereas we can't control that direct impact, we have an influence on the second round impact. And that constitutes two things. So when a good lands here, the Jamaican dollar price matters, and this is where the exchange rate comes in. There's also another component in which other goods that are not necessarily have a heavily import content, other goods, other producers may also raise their prices because they are expecting prices generally to rise as well. So we will see, for example, that rental rates, for example, which has nothing to do with commodity price, rental rates will go up because people are trying to protect themselves, to protect their income. It is those effects that the bank and its monetary policy is actually trying to dampen. We can't affect the main shock if oil price goes up, but how it ripples through and how it affects the rest of the economy, that's what we're trying to temper.
He also said that the bank is using a three-pronged approach in an effort to reduce the expected 30% increase internally.
One is to adjust interest rates, because we have to change relative prices. The other is that we have been a lot more aggressive in ensuring adequate supply of foreign exchange in the market so that the exchange rate would be less volatile and more stable. And also we are constraining the amount of Jamaican dollar liquidity that's available in the system.
Governor Biles chimed in, noting that the approach is not a smooth fix and will have side effects.
The idea is to slow down demand, take some of the demand out of the economy and let prices settle off a little bit. So it has a positive and a negative effect, unfortunately.
Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Tuesday, July 5, the US dollar sold for an average of $151.41. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $117.99. The pound sterling traded for $183.19, and the euro sold for an average of $160.11. The following reflects the movement of the JSE indices in Tuesday's trading session. The JSE index advanced by 631 points to close at over 300,000 units. The junior market index declined by 9 points to close at over 4,000 units. The combined market index advanced by 500 points to close at over 300,000 units. And the All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by 1,073 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 102 stocks, of which 43 advanced, 47 declined, and 12 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Variable Preference, and AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. Stocks declined for 1834 Investments Limited, Virgin Paints Jamaica Limited, and Blue Power Group Limited. Trading firm were Access Financial Services Limited, Dermont Trading Company Limited, and Jamaica Public Service Company 9.5%. The following companies represent the overall volume leaders. Future Energy Source Company Limited ordinary shares with over 241 million units, Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with over 3 million units, and Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 1 million units. In regional stocks in Trinidad and Tobago, Calypso Macro Index Fund was the only active security posting a volume of 70 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Government of Barbados Bond Series B was the volume leader with over 146,000 shares. They were followed by Epley Caribbean Property Fund Value Fund with 2,400 shares and Goddard Enterprises Limited, which traded 822 shares. In international news, Scandinavian airline SAS has filed for bankruptcy protection in the United States. It came just a day after 1,000 pilots walked off the job when wage talks collapsed. But it is not just SAS that is facing difficulties. Airlines around the world are struggling with strikes and the lingering fallout of pandemic lockdowns. More from Al Jazeera News.
Scandinavian airline SAS has filed for bankruptcy protection in the US. It's blamed a pilot walkout over wages on Monday, although its financial woes have been long-running.
SAS needs to address its challenging financial position and make significant cost reductions in order to become competitive. The ongoing strike makes this challenging situation even tougher.
In the UK, low-cost airline EasyJet has been forced to cut 10,000 of its scheduled 160,000 flights. The carrier blames worker shortages, saying the problem is a lack of ground staff. On Monday, EasyJet announced that Chief Operating Officer Peter Bello had stepped down to pursue other opportunities. British Airways passengers are also affected. The carrier is cancelling about 1,500 flights in the coming weeks, saying the aviation sector is facing the most challenging period in its history.
We've got a pilot shortage, we've got a fuel crisis with prices just going out of sight, we've got inflation. We need to fill those seats to get what we call the load factor up.
In market data for oil prices rose, calling back some of Tuesday's heavy losses as supply concerns returned to the fore and outweighed lingering worries about a potential global recession. Brent crude rose by $1.43 to $104.20, and West Texas Intermediate crude climbed 65 cents to $100.15 a barrel. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.